Bibia akwaba na yɛmfa mbra Mega TV and platform we ɛso hanom ɛyɛ number 1 authentic platform Mega TV. Abusua yi ni na ɛne sɛ Solomon Owusu ɛyɛ communications director Edema UP Alam Kwadwokyerɛmanten ne party no. Saa nso na Ken Ahyegbe enso ɛyɛ NDC ni anameboa yes. Na o engineer. In fact, any NPP communicator be a clâshed on TV3. Ni end of year review. Enyema esi ye ewo since Yewura John Mahama NDC ebeji amamwoyi. Enyema akoso papa eni boni. Yebekɔ ne akoti. Ba utie ensema Solomon Owusu ka debia me kasa owura we one of the best communicators MPP for munya ya omanso de muyi oni alad. But the nay akodi on the other side nti they can say na ye and some of the two eduan bi eni yenko ne nti nse be koba beto aso
behaving as an MP. I don't know who the MP there is, and the MP there must immediately call the national security into action, because that way is behaving as though he's an MP for the Sisala East area. Meanwhile, he's not.
Yeah.
He must not be creating the impression as though he's the MP there.
Yeah.
The MP is an NDC MP.
The MP is an NDC MP who will be uprooted like cassava in 2022 by the United Party candidate.
All right.
Will you have a candidate there?
Okay.
We will field candidates in all the 276, including Yende.
You see, all right. So happy birthday to Bridget Otu, who works with the presidency as a presidential staffer. Good morning to you. Great friend, Bridget Otu. Great friend. Wishing you all the best for the day. And I pray God gives you all your heart desires as always. Bridget Otu. My paddy. Hey, Bridget. And
MC Bridget or Bridget?
No, Bridget Otu.
Otu.
The journalist and then a businesswoman. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Today is her birthday.
Yeah, today's her 31st. It's always her birthday.
Beautiful.
Birthday. So she's always climaxing the year with her birthday.
Fantastic. Happy birthday to her.
Yeah. Yes. So we're doing a year under review, and it's very important for all of us to take. So we've been doing a number of them so far, and this morning we want to take and highlight and have some introspection on a number of key issues. And the first one will be on our fight against Galamsey, illegal mining. It was a huge campaign topic 2024. It had been a subject since 2018 because we had a whole national program that was launched. And so we want to talk about that as well. We'll be joined also by Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe, convener, the Media Coalition Against Galamsey, or illegal mining, if he's already on that. Good morning to you, Dr. Ashigbe.
You know, please, today is the birthday of my uncle, my mentor, Professor Ahetu.
Oh, nice.
He turns 80 today, yes, and we, the people of Chiamen, the whole Anglon, and celebrating.
Yeah.
And interestingly, too, yesterday was the 82nd birthday of my God's representative on earth, my mother, Regina Gakpanuvo. She also turned 82 yesterday. So give me this opportunity to say happy birthday to both of them.
Right. Ken Ashigbe and I, we come from the same hometown, so it's always very important. And today it looks like it's been a morning of shout-outs. So everybody... Ken Ashigbe has been very hard on all the government, both NPP and NDC. People keep wondering. And Ken Ashigbe is convener, Media Coalition Against Galamsey. That's for the purposes of this discussion, what he does. But he's also with the Chamber of Mines, eh?
Yes, Chamber of Mines, please.
Chamber of Mines, yes. That's the boss for Chamber of Mines. He was with Telecoms.
Chief Servant.
Yeah, okay, Chief Servant. He's a very strict man, if you know him as well. So, and the second subject we'll be talking about will be whether we can have a proper assessment on Operation Recover or Loot. Has it lived up to expectation? So we intend dividing the time appropriately until we close around 4550. That'll be 84550. So make sure you join us. We have a number of you who have joined us already. So since it's a morning of acknowledgement, let me acknowledge all our watchers. I have Olufemi Ben Ejima Kinde. I hope I pronounce Chief Olu. I hope I pronounce your name well. Olufemi Ben Ejima Kinde. He's a regular watcher of the show. He's also watching us currently. Happy New Year to you. And then we also do have all those on the stream as well. Let me acknowledge the Mensa Majid is there. Prince Nani York. Obrin Ponkaba, great guy. David Pamford. Please share the stream. Let's have some great conversations thereof. All right. Alaji Abdul Fattah.
Yes.
Yeah, Galamsey. Let me ask you.
Okay.
The first question would be, if you have to assess the government's fight, what the narrative was, the NDC in opposition, and what they've done with illegal mining, combating it, on a scale of 0 to 10, how would you rate it?
0 to 10, I'll give my government 7.
7.
Yes.
Okay, 7 is above average.
Exactly.
Even more than above average.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
But why? Because the government has been up for a lot of criticism, despite the efforts that have been made.
Yes, thank you so much, Roland. Roland, Galamsey, as we all know it, is not a fight that can be won in a day. And if you have a government that came in on the back of a fight that was almost lost to Galamsey at the time the government took over in 2025 January. In fact, Galamsey was completely lost. The fight was lost. The damage was so devastating, and that it needed a lot of effort, a lot of thought on the fight as we speak. But clearly we have made serious gains. We have made serious impact. In fact, and to the extent that the president himself admitted when he invited the CSOs that he would be the last person to say that he has completely won the fight, and he was eliciting views on how to completely go about fighting the menace. The cry of all Ghanaians was for him to, as it were, declare a state of emergency, given the situation at hand. But he explained the position that the government had at the time. Many were those who were saying that prior to coming into office, were crying for the state of emergency. And so why are we now turning our back? But you see, at the time we were asking for the state of emergency, the situation was different. We had almost a lot of our forests, I think 9 forests that were completely taken over by the Galamseyers and the bandits. And so we needed a situation where we could recover. And so at the time we took over, and at the time the calls came for us to have the state of emergency to do, at least some of these forests had been taken over by government. They had been taken by government. And so there was a lot of progress. And many people do not know the effect of just declaring a state of emergency. If you look at the Emergency Powers Act of the country, it comes with a lot of ramifications, and people who don't understand it would just think it's something you can just pass or have come into effect and things will go normal. No. And so to the extent that the government had made serious gains, for instance, one of the biggest issues in the fight against Galamsey was the fact that the earth-moving equipment that are used in this Galamsey business were just free for all. Anybody could just get up and import it, and no, in fact, they were not even registered. There was no tracking devices on them. And so the government came and said, no, from now going forward, there is now going to be a permit regime for the importation of this earth-moving equipment. And so today, if you want to import any equipment that has the potential of being used in any Galamsey business, you have to come for a permit, a government permit. And what it also means is that it is now being seriously regulated. And then secondly, once such equipment are brought into the country, they are tracked everywhere they go. And so when they are not supposed to be at a particular location and they are found there, they can easily be disabled. And so they will not be able to function. And so if you look at the tracking of these devices and the fact that you need a special permit, you need a permit to be able to bring it, and that you can take it to where you have not been licensed to take it. And now every earth-moving equipment that is brought to the country is registered. You understand? And it's in the database. Before now, they didn't have registration numbers. And so they were just doing anything at any point in time. And so to the extent that we have been able to put all these measures in place. And then secondly, the first step was to amend the LI that gave power to the miners to mining in forest reserves. There was the amendment of that LI, and there was a cry for the complete repeal of the law. But that has also been done now. Now it has been laid before Parliament, and as an LI, I think it has even matured. And so as we speak, almost all the asks by the civil society organizations, by all well-meaning Ghanaians, have been duly complied with. The fight itself cannot be won in a day, and so we'll have to see these things now beginning to show. For instance, as we speak, we have over 1,700 blue water guards who have been recruited, young guys, young energetic guys, who are in the forests, and we see the work they are doing. We also have the NIMOS, the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operation Secretariat, and they are also doing a lot of work. And so if you put all these efforts together, you would see that this is a government that is truly committed. Yes, we cannot underestimate the damage that has been caused, but we just need a government that is committed. And to me, what has been done within 1 year of His Excellency the President's regime, compared to what we saw in the 8 years of the past regime, I think I'll be fair in giving the government a 7 out of 10.
A 7 out of 7. Out of 10.
Exactly.
Despite the criticism.
There will always be criticism. And like I said, even by the time we leave office, maybe in 24 years or 32 years or thereabout, there will still, no one can say that you can fully eliminate galamsey. There will still be some element of galamsey, but we want to make sure that we bring it we reduce it to the barest minimum. At least our water bodies are secured, our forest reserves are secured.
So I'll leave you for last, for good purposes. And Dr. Ashigbi, if you look at what the Clarion Call had been, or you do a recall, especially in the first quarter, or the first quarter of this year, or the immediate few months when the government came into office, there was the whole narrative in the public domain about the ban, or a ban that needed to be placed by the head of the executive. Do you think that perhaps the absence of that has taken perhaps a certain momentum that was expected to have been associated with the start of combating the crisis, so to speak?
Well, thank you very much. And I think that, for some of us, we were not calling for a ban on small-scale mining.
Yes.
But we were talking, and again, I respectfully disagree with my brother when he says the state of emergency should not have been declared. And if you look at the calls that the CSOs were making for a state of emergency, were making a call for state of emergency in selected areas. And the law he quoted provides the president to be able to just do that. And I would come back to that when I address the issues. But I think that I also would be one of the first to agree that, there was a refreshing change when His Excellency took over. But you see, my brother should also not forget that in the early days of President Nana Addo, when he decided that he was ready to put his presidency on the line, we chalked a lot of successes. Turbidity of water started improving, excavators were seized, arrests were made, there was even a moratorium on small-scale mining. But then as we got close to the 2020 elections, everything went haywire, including the president on the platform. When I asked him about what he was doing about Akonta mining, he told us that Akonta mining was not involved in galamsey as we speak. When the question I had asked him was not about Akonta mining as we speak, but something that had been done, that his Minister for Lands and Natural Resources has actually talked about the fact that the man was involved in an illegality. So at the beginning of the NPP was also great. And this one, I think I'm one of the first to say that His Excellency himself has demonstrated the appetite to deal with it. And he's done a few things to show. And he's appointed a Minister for Lands and Natural Resources who has not just demonstrated his commitment to the fight, but actually had put in some great interventions. One typical example was the fact that, and my brother talked about the repeal of LI 2462. The NDC was not going to repeal LI 2462 till, we got the minister then, when he took over responsibility for the environment as well. Because from the early stages, his engagement with the CSOs and all of that, had declared that he was not for that. But then he went ahead, when he became minister, to get the LI actually laid, and then currently has been repealed. And so the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources definitely has demonstrated, his penchant to be able to deal with it. And so there's all of that has happened. NIMOS is also another positive activity that has happened. We've seen the Forestry Commission, all the work that has been done. So I would not do a 7, I would do a 5 or a 5.5. As an improvement, but there's still a lot of work to be done. And let me just get to why there's still a lot of work to be done. The coalition has done some work, in terms of the turbidity of water. The turbidity of water is not improving, so when we talk about improvement being made, you have the situation where Kwenyako water treatment plant, the turbidity went to absurd levels, because not the people of Kwenyako in the central region who were mining, people in the eastern region were mining. And sometimes some of these minings happens at, hidden in plain sight, and so that continues to happen. You also have the situation where politically exposed persons who are involved in Galamsey, when we met His Excellency the President, was one of the questions I asked, and we have not really seen much being done about that. The President had asked the Attorney General, 2 members of the ruling government, were supposed to be investigated. We've not heard anything about that. Akonta mining, which, we had been pushing for since 2022. And then the current minister also got involved. There's been arrests, but, you don't really see the movement. There was also the issues of Professor Frimpong Boateng's report that is replete with a lot of politically exposed persons of the former government who are involved in Galamsey. As my brothers, the Gans, we see, we've not had anything being done so far as that is concerned. And again, we need to state some facts. When it comes to the issues of, it is true that excavators were coming into this country and, they were not being registered and all of that. But we also need to give credit to the past government. They started the issues of the tracking. By the time they were leaving office, about 66 excavators had started to be tracked. The MINCOM had put together, the system to be able to track them. There has been some movement on that. But I would still want to see that all excavators are tracked. As we speak, not all excavators are tracked. The ones that are coming in are tracked, but the number of excavators that are in the field, several of them, we've not seen them being tracked. So I would urge the government to speed up the process of tracking all excavators. And as you talk about that, one of the challenges again with this particular fight, you go into some of these communities and people are selling, things that are used for Galamsey. One leg, there's one of the equipment called one leg. It's more devastating than even the chamfat. It is being sold in clâshed plain sight.
One leg.
Yes, it's called one leg, yes. It is very devastating, when it comes. It's very small. It gets in there and it's sucking the earth, destroying everything. That's also there. We got the EPA going to some of these communities to be able to deal with them. My problem again, and with His Excellency to deal with, is the issues about the fact that he has given our MMDCs, a KPI of Galamsey. So how is it that you have an MCE or a DCE in some of these communities, and they're expecting the president to come from Accra, or expecting the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, or his either the Forestry Commission, NIMOS, or EPA to come and deal with this? Why are the DCs and MCs not dealing with this? Go to a place like Dunkwa, for example. They are issuing tags, stickers to excavators. ask them that the excavators that they've issued stickers for which the people are paying, whether all of those excavators are tracked. So why are these MCEs still opposed? There is one of the MCEs now who also has even been pronounced guilty of contempt, and the case has to do with Galamsey. But he claims, the DCE claims that this case, it was brought against him by some notorious Galamseyer who, when he's arrested, his equipment arrested, seemed to be released. So why wouldn't His Excellency the President differentiate himself from the former president, who had the situation of Bosomwe Freo and DCE also confessing to a crime? That man always saw he was dismissed. Why are we not interdicting this particular MC, investigating? If he is innocent as he claims, we exonerate him. But if he's not, then punishment is made. But currently, as we speak, he's still at post, and nothing is happening.
All right. So that brings us to the question of, is it that the strategies that have been adopted are not punitive enough? So, for example, we see a number of incidents where even NIMOS personnel go to communities and there's resistance from the community members. All right. There's complicity of individuals in official or public office where they turn a blind eye and allow the perpetration of these acts. And so there's a two-way or two-side to the narrative, where the communities, where the exploitation is ongoing, are beneficiaries one way or the other, because there's an economic livelihood around illegal mining, and the government also has to deal with it frontally with the task force and the strategy, Blue Water Guards, NIMOS, etc. And we, at the top of the whole conversation, say that it has to be tackled head on. So why is that strategy is not working?
Roland, it's not working because it is the powerful in society that is doing this illegal business. Let me tell you, all the inputs, accoutrements, equipment that you need in doing Galamsey are very expensive. I mean, how many of the locals are able to buy excavators or even rent excavators? It is the powerful in society that you call the honorables. They go and convince the locals who are poor that, when Galamsey comes to your area, you make some decent living, which is not the case. I'll give you a typical example. For those that were traveling to the Elembele and those areas, before mining got to that area, rent was so cheap. I went to conduct some surveys there. But with the advent of mining in the area, now it's highly expensive for the locals to even rent. Food. You go to mining areas like Obuasi that used to enjoy, oranges and stuff at a very cheap price. Now they are having to depend on foodstuffs from far areas, which is becoming very expensive because they were told that when money comes to your area, you make a decent living. No, it's not true. It's the powerful in society who are doing that, and you must call them by the name. I'm very happy you brought in NIMOS, and here, let me salute whoever brought the idea of NIMOS. Together with the personnel there, Keneboa and Co., they are doing a yeoman's job. That is one positive with this administration. They were straight on, they got it right, and I believe that if they are going to allow NIMOS to work, we may deal with it. But there are a lot of negatives with the fight against Galamsey with this administration. I believe that entering into 2026, the president, together with his administration, must sit up and deal with it. Look straight into his own party financiers, people in government, and tell them enough is enough. Ghana ranks sixth when it comes to leading countries producing gold. You have the China, you have the Russia, you have Australia, you have Canada, you have the United States all coming before Ghana. Why is it that we are not experiencing these levels of destruction in the environment? The last time the Ghana Space Science...
Imagine managing your entire business from one platform. With Build Easy, contractors gain instant access to real clients, organized project timelines, and secure payments. Never waste time searching for work again. Grow your reputation with verified projects. It's time to take control of your projects and your success. Build Easy, your business streamlined.
NIMOS as a name calling Safu Japan, working with NIMOS as a private soldier. And for education, to become a private soldier is to go through this buy application form first of all, go through the recruitment that's got 6 people dead. After that,
he's a soldier, but his rank is private.
Private.
Okay.
Go through training for 6 months. This man is deployed by 9 months to the Obuasi area. And he dies. He was buried just the 19th of December. We had the EPA boss go to Obuasi, Professor Clâshed. The woman was chased.
Out.
You interviewed her here on this platform. Your EPA boss, and what even freaked me with her account was the fact that someone in the crowd was directing her. Don't use the Obuasi route, use the Dunkwa route. How did that person in the crowd got to know that the place was so insecure and that people were trailing her? It means people were complicit.
Within the administration.
Within the administration. And it comes back to the point that Kenashibe was making. That how can we have an MC in Obuasi, an NIB person in Obuasi, a national security person in Obuasi, and we will still have this despicable act, and the person is still drawing salaries from the state? Mr. President, 2026, do us one favor. Any community that you see Galamsey happening, sack the MC, sack the police commander. I am expecting the Obuasi police commander banner should have been fired.
And if it's not done?
That means you are not fighting Galamsey. It means you are only beating about the bush.
We're paying lip service.
Paying lip service. Because you cannot have Galamsey openly. And the people were bold enough. They were wearing CID attire, confronting a woman. They are so callous. They are not reasonable. They saw the EPA boss to be a woman. They could have even considered that, oh, this is a woman. They wanted to kill her. So if they are ready to kill a woman, how much more me, you and I? Let the state be weak and there will not be any state. So the president must up the game and go after the kingpin. You remember Kenebua telling the entire world that his life was saved by grace at a certificate North. What has happened to the MP? Kwakwado.
He's standing trial.
He's standing trial, and then that trial
is in court. So
that matter is where?
He's in court. The man had appeared before. Was he?
La ilaha illallah. Now, what about? Is he alone standing trial? Because he mentioned Collins Dowd's name. Remember? What has happened to him?
That depends on the investigation.
That depends on the investigation.
If your name is mentioned in anything, you should be.
So what I'm saying is that Jofas, the Ghana Standard Authority, tells us that the acceptable turbidity levels of our water must be 5 NTU. 5 NTU. As we speak, we are doing above 11,000. So I'm not here this morning to grade, to give 1:5. I will only be happy when the NTU comes back to a reasonable level because it does not discriminate. And I want to entreat every Ghanaian to be visiting the emergency unit of Kolebu Hospital. And there you would appreciate how people are dying like chicken. We are fast-tracking our exit from this world. And you see, anytime 9 months raise a site, one thing happens. They always confiscate guns. You know what it means? We are building bandits. Nigeria now has to deal with bandits at Sokoto and Zamfara. Now they have to rely on strikes from the United States. We cannot be in this country where a group of people think that they are above the laws. Remember what happened on the 18th of January 2025 when some group of people in Obuasi entered forcibly the mining site of Anglo Gold that led to 8 people dead. So the fight, we must up it. But the most important thing is that politicians must look straight into their faces. There are ways of doing responsible mining. Nobody is saying that you cannot do responsible mining. Go through the mill, go through the training, and get the requisite skill. The state must help in that direction so that we get mining companies that are responsible. If it could be done in the Russias, it could be done in Australia, it could be done in Canada and the United States, why can't it be done in Ghana? That we are destroying our environment thinking that we are doing anything serious because we are looking for money. You are looking for money at the expense of who? And this business of it creates employment, no, we must not entertain it. What about areas that do not have gold? That they are not doing money? I don't know, surviving. So we shouldn't go there. Then armed robbers will also come in and tell us that, yes, because they are not getting jobs, that's why they are robbing. That is not how we build a country.
And for example, Shadrach, show me the video. Show me the video of the Professor Clâshed, who was chased. The EPA boss.
She was chased, the woman, and you know,
there are even other videos where the NIMOS personnel deployed in some other areas.
Yes.
You have barricades of fire, etc. That's been lit by the community.
Absolutely.
Preventing them from making entry into the community.
So that is the point.
Okay. So that is why, that is why, Abdel Fattah, we need to have the conversation around why are community members willing to allow their areas to be mined, preventing official task force personnel and officials who have been appointed by the state, I'll say, of course, it's the president, from stopping an illegality if everybody along the chain is not complicit. So how does the president then go and convince a community of 10,000, 20,000 people who are willing to be part of the economic life? They are benefiting from illegal mining to stop that.
I think it's sheer greed. Greed in that people look at the direct benefit they get as opposed to the communal benefit or the communal destruction that is caused by the Galamsey menace. So, for instance, this is even in time past we had a situation where Otumfuo was taking on chiefs under his jurisdiction who were involved in Galamsey. This tells you that those campaigns, as rightly mentioned by,
I don't understand. Otumfuo is.
Yeah, there was a time that he was seen handing down severe sanctions to chiefs under his jurisdiction who were involved or who had hands in Galamsey. And this is the extent we need to go with this fight. You see, if we leave the fight to mean a political fight, we'll never get there. Because remember, if the entire community becomes embroiled in this fight, then it becomes difficult, because if you go to any community, you are going to work with the structures in the community. You have the chieftaincy structure, you have the local administration, and all those things. But if you get to an extent where the chiefs themselves are complicit, trust me, even the MCE or the DCE who is there will not be able to address the issue, because sometimes even the appointment of MMDCs is based on the recommendation of the chiefs. And so, to a large extent, sometimes the MMDCs owe serious allegiance to the chiefs. And so, if you come to a community and the chief himself has a hand in the menace, then it becomes a very difficult fight to undertake. And so, I am not surprised that you go to community, because people look at, okay, Galamsey, yes, it's bad, but when I go in, look at what I'm able to make. The young guys are making huge money. It's just like this Sakawa.
The romance scam, the fraud, the internet fraud.
Those people engaged in it, they are aware that this is criminal, this is bad. In fact, most of them, they belong to one religious faith or the other. If they are not Christians, they are Muslims. And they know the implications of this on themselves. But they look at the benefit they get, they drive. Tell me,
my name is
Roland.
Yes.
What job opportunity can any government take to a community that can go at par with what the people get, the indigenous get from Galamsey?
So we should put our arms in the air in despair?
No, so I'm telling you that is the situation at hand.
Because the reality is that the effort is not biting enough.
It's not about the effort. It's about who are fighting the effort.
It's not punitive enough.
The effort, no.
Yet we are here blaming the president. The president has appointees in there. Here you are citing chiefs. So, for example, we all know in Ghana, if somebody commits an act of omission and we want to use the coercive powers of state to enforce for punitive or maybe prosecution, etc., it's the same chiefs and the elderly state people in the community who come to intervene, whether through the presidency, etc., for that person to be dealt leniently.
Exactly.
So, but at the end of the day, that's why we elect the president, and his appointees carry on his authority.
Which is why I go for this new approach of decent community mining. There is this new step.
Yeah, but you have to stop the illegality before you go there.
Yeah, you can do the two at the same time. You don't need to necessarily stop, because it will take a lot of time. And sometimes, once you stop some people, you are asking yourself, what alternative do they have? So try to regularize their operations. Try to create some sanity around the operations, and let people feel that they can easily be transitioned from the illegality to the legality without losing anything. You understand? So how do we put up a structure that makes it so easy, so seamless for people to move away from the illegal practice to a legal practice without losing a penny? If we are able to establish such a rigorous structure, trust me, people will move away from the Galamsey issue.
Really?
Yes, because they just need an alternative to whatever they get.
Yeah.
And trust me, this job opportunities, if you like, the YEA job opportunities, the Zoom line, those things are not enough to take the youth off this. Because the kind of money they make from Galamsey, trust me, you and I sitting here, we don't even make a quarter of that money in a year.
Oh, you are an MP. You don't have a problem.
So you see, it goes beyond just a political class. You understand? Okay. I don't respond to that, but it goes beyond just a political class.
All right.
You understand? So we need a concerted effort from the chiefs.
Dr. Ashigbi.
So again, I agree with yes.
So the communities are benefiting. You've seen them. Sometimes they join forces with the hoodlums. I'm calling the hoodlums because they carry AK-47s, MG3s, and things like that, to make sure they prevent well-appointed, deployed state authority or personnel.
Yes. So Roland, you see, Solomon mentioned it. The firefighters have become the arsonists. The people we have put in authority to prevent this thing. It is organized crime. It is properly organized crime. These are the people who can import 200 excavators into this country. These are people who are importing a lot of weaponry into this country. You have situations now, they bring people from our neighboring countries not to come and mine, but they bring the people to provide the security, the shield.
Really?
In such a way that, yes, currently go to a lot our...
You mean Burkina Faso, Ivorian, Nigerians, and they are providing security at the illegal mining sites?
Completely. So the challenge we have currently, it's not just the ecological challenges that we face. We also have a major national security challenge on our hands. In the past, you will see a military man wearing his camo in a community, but you had a situation where a colonel of the military and 8 military people had to run for their lives. So these people who are doing this, they are armed to the teeth, and then unfortunately you also have the issues of a lot of drugs involved. And so because and you find out that most of these people, they are not even from the communities. So when they are pushing, these things from happening, it is not a joke. You had a situation where you went to Tontokrom, where 28 million of a Ghanaian contractors' equipment were banned. So what we are doing, and again, I agree with Honorable when he talks about the fact that we need to go back to responsible mining and be able to find a scheme that insulates the community people from these organized criminals so that they are able to mine and then mine responsibly. They don't put themselves at risk.
Dr. Ashigbi.
And then they are able to get the benefits out of that.
Dr. Ashigbi.
Yes, sir.
I know what the EPA Act says, the Minerals and Mining Act as well. The responsible mining, how is it supposed to be done? That we haven't been able to achieve that.
Okay. So you see, if you look at it, it was the basis of community mining when the NPP were in power. Unfortunately, the community mining just became an avenue for politically exposed persons to get involved in this without necessarily the communities benefiting from it. Now, this current government wants, is renaming it as responsible mining. But the good thing is that there are few changes that this current government has done with it. But there's still the challenge. You see, to be able to do proper responsible mining, there's a lot of money that you need to put behind it. So for us, the Ghana Chamber of Mines, we are finding ways in which we want to also come support government in this venture in putting together a modeled, responsible mining scheme. But it would need a lot of money that has to be put behind it. I have had conversations with the CEO for the Gold Board. He also gets it, that to be able to do this, you need to put some good money behind it, get the community members to own some equity in it. You need to get the people who are the landowner, the people who are currently farming or have rights on the land, also have some shares in it. Bring entities like the Minerals Commission, the EPA, but most importantly, entities like UMAT and some of these universities to give you professionals that would work with these people. Get funds, to be able to make sure that you design the mine right. You do the prospecting and make sure that there's proper gold there so that you don't do this, try-and-acquire things that they do. And then make sure that you design the mine properly, get the right people to make sure that they work together with them. A lot of the money you would need would have to go into paying these people the right amount so that they will not be dealing with these organized criminals. Then you put the Gold Board also, you also then put together a processing plant to be able to not process the ore. One of the major risks that currently we face, which is a new risk that has come, there's a lot of Burkinabés that they are bringing into this, the illegal miners are bringing into this country, who are not using mercury anymore. They are using cyanide. And cyanide in the wrong dosage, in the hands of the wrong people, without the right protection and protocols around it, is very deadly. And currently that's something that is happening. So if you put this responsible mining in place, you then have to put together a central processing plant that they can bring their ores to this particular place and then be able to process it. At the end of it, Gold Board is there to buy the gold of them. You make sure that everybody who has a stake in it also gets to benefit out of it. So yes, the responsible mining, it is the way to go, but then it would need a lot of intention, being deliberate, intentional about it, a lot of resources. And as I've said, we, as a chamber, we've commissioned some work. Some of our members have already started some work to do with it so that these things can be done and done properly. There are various other models where you could get these community people to then work for the large-scale miners, but they do that very responsibly, so they become like subcontractors for them. But there are major challenges. Let me say one thing about the issues around the chiefs.
And that will be your last word, please.
Yes, the last word I would say is that the chiefs. We need to get to the point where any chief who allows his land to be used for galamsey, that land should be confiscated. So some new laws would have to be passed. Hey. Confiscate the land, redo the reclamation.
Confiscation of...
Yes, you confiscate the land that they've given for galamsey, and then you do the reclamation of it, and then give it back to the state to be used for positive things. Once they know they themselves that they will lose the land, then they will stop giving it up.
I see. It's quite an interesting, so you take a look at our laws on land. So you go to the Akan areas, of course. The allodial owners are the stools, right?
Yeah.
And you come, of course, it's only you go to the Volta and some of those where we have the families as the allodial owners. Now, subsequently, if they look on the chiefs, from what he's saying, and their lands are dissipated, where we even have cocoa farmers who have had a generation of farms, having been in that industry, trading that for the gains of what they'll get from illegal mining, it also means that the current strategy needs to be tweaked. There has to be more human intervention by way of stakeholder engagement and persuasion, making sure that we provide alternative for them to mine legally or sustainably. So we're not like stopping what they are doing, but we are saying that make sure that you use the right sort of chemicals, the outcome or the residue of whatever liquid is treated, you reclaim the land, etc. Because that's what we're not doing right. So something has got to give.
Yes, but the point is that I am not of the school of thought that chiefs has to be blamed. They have no business being blamed when it comes to Galamsey is shirking of government's responsibility. Because Article 2576 is so clear, and it's the reason why when you read page 77 of our GTP, if you can read page 77, the X, this is the GTP.
Page 75.
77.
77, okay.
Go to the last, the X.
I've seen the X.
If you can read...
Is it the X one or X is amend Article 2576 to establish traditional authorities as co-trustees with the president.
Yes.
In respect of all mineral rights in Ghana. And Article 257 says
Article 2576, where it is said, says that every mineral in its natural state, under, or upon any land in Ghana, rivers, streams, water courses throughout Ghana, the exclusive economic zone, and any area covered by the territorial sea or continental shelf is the property of the Republic of Ghana and shall be vested in the president on behalf of, in trust for the people of Ghana.
If that's what the Constitution says, why do you want an amendment so that the traditional authorities become president?
So if there is any responsibility, liability, you must place it on the president that indiscriminate or Galamsey is happening. For you to be able to accuse the chiefs is to make them co-trustees. To vest some of the powers in the hands of the chief, so that when we come to your area and we find out that there is Galamsey going on there, we can then hold the chief responsible. It is lack of leadership. It is because of the fact that the governments, the successive governments, have been complicit in the Galamsey fight.
Because what you're saying is that you can't just confiscate someone's land because the Constitution grants them
because
the right.
First of all, he has no power.
If you want to do, you have to do compulsory acquisition.
Absolutely. And even if there is a chief whom you know has given a land, all that the government has to do is to go and grab that chief, grab him, throw him into any cells or jail, and then we go away. Because he has committed a crime. He has no such powers. And that is why most chiefs complain that they will be living in their villages. Somebody will come from Accra with a permit from the EPA, from the Minerals Commission, and from the Lands Commission, and then say that I have been given the permission to come and mine. In my village, Ampunya, those that went to the heritage mining company that went and did that despicable act, the chief didn't have any clue about it. All they said was that someone had granted them permission in Accra. But one of the crime scene institutions we have had is the Minerals Commission. This business of responsible mining. Roland, before you are given a license to mine, you write what we call a business plan. In the business plan, you enumerate, you state how you are going to do responsible mining, how you are not going to destroy the land, even how you are going to reclaim the land. Because of how corrupt they are, they don't go and monitor. They don't monitor anything. They allow them to do things with impunity. And then they come and tell us, they give a beautiful nonsense as a response. If institutions are going to work, we will not get to where we are. So for me, it is about time, because Galamsey is an existential threat. You live in your house far off the Galamsey areas, but remember you eat tomatoes. Remember you eat cabbage. You remember you eat food. You will drink water that has been polluted from somewhere. An innocent soul then dies out of that. And we say what? Meanwhile, our economic situation cannot afford, our hospitals cannot even support the levels of diseases that comes out of this Galamsey.
Creating a public health crisis.
That is it.
Creating a public health crisis.
That is it. That is it.
Okay, so that's why you're not rating.
No, I'm not rating.
He's saying 5.5.
No, I'm not going to rate it. I will only rate when the water bodies are clean. You see, first of all, this government was voted for into office. It's almost out of it. So you take it out, we are left about 1,100 something. I will rate him after his tenure to see whether indeed he was able to bring the stability levels very down. But where we are now, I'm not going to rate. Let's see what you do. But we will continue to push him. Okay. It's the reason why we gave him the Great Transformation. You see, I quoted from the Great Transformation.
You even visited him.
Yes.
With, your leader, Alan Tremantin.
But we will encourage him to succeed. Indeed, it is in our interest that the president succeeds. It must not be in the interest of any Ghanaian that the president must fail, so that when you get the opportunity, you want to go and continue. If we had pushed President Akufo-Addo to succeed, we will not be having these despicable acts, situations where he himself was exonerating a Galamsey campaign.
Oh,
When the whole country,
but
Akonta Mining, his own Minister of Lands and Natural Resources said they were engaged in illegality. They issued a statement to that effect. The Minerals Commission then said that it took the president who said he was going to put his presidency on the line to go and stand in Koforidua and say that Akonta Mining was never engaged in any galamsey. How can Carlos, the man is being paid? That's what pains me. After destroying the country, he's being paid in his house. Now he's in the UK chilling.
We have an emoluments committee set up.
We have to review. That's what the constitutional review. You see, the constitutional review must take into account whether or not a president performed before his entitlements will be given. Other than that, what we are doing is that we are only promoting laziness in government.
Right.
You just come and mess up, and then when you are gone, we will pay you every month. Is that the right way to go?
Engineer Ashigbe, please stay with us, because we're talking about oral next. And all these things have got to do with prosecution and everything. So please stay with us. So you join us until we end 8:45:50, okay? Is that okay with you? Madam Kukuno?
I will stay. The challenge is that, I'm not an expert on oral, but I'll stay.
No. This one, it's public commentary. We are not speaking as a lawyer, because none of us are lawyers except him, Lawyer Fatal. Lawyer Fatal. The thing you are doing with oral, how would you rate it? 0 to 10. That 1 to 7.
As for me, as a lawyer, I'll be the last.
Okay.
I'll be the
Do
last.
you think, then my substantive question, do you think the approach that we're using for oral is prudent?
Within, so you have to
within the remit of law, knowing that oral itself is a political campaign promise. Whilst we know that within the remit of law, it takes time for you to be able to achieve some prosecution. You need to
Roland,
make sure that...
As a lawyer who has practiced for some time, I've always said that, you see, prosecution is not an easy job.
So why do you go about promising?
You see, when another body makes available something they call evidence, when they make some information available to the prosecutorial powers, like the Attorney General, to use, it is not that straightforward that the Attorney General will just pick whatever is given to him and start running with it. Listen, tomorrow, when any matter from the oral document is taken to court, trust me, you may not have any of the oral team members being in court to testify. No. And so even if that is just a piece of information, it's just a docket given to the Attorney General. Now, if the Attorney General takes each and every item in the oral document, it has to commence investigations. Because listen, I always said that, look, the oral team, none of the oral team members, as far as I know, is a prosecutor. And none of them is a certified investigator. You can talk about lawyers. Yes, there's a lawyer, but a lawyer is not an investigator. What an investigator is trained to do is not what a lawyer is trained to do. We see defects in the work of investigators, but we are not necessarily investigators. And so, if I am the Attorney General and you ask me to prosecute a particular crime or offense, and then I have a document handed to me by, say, Solomon, I will not say that Solomon has done his work already, and so I'll take it and move to court. That would be very wrong. Any Attorney General who takes that document and rushes to court is not what he sought. Because tomorrow, you will need someone to speak to the evidence you are taking to court. So someone must commence the investigations. And the one who is commencing the investigation is the trained investigator. And he may arrive at a different conclusion. Look, it's not every wrong which is a crime. Those who may have gathered the information contained in oral may just be looking for wrongs.
Wait, does the AG know this?
I'm not talking as an AG. And so I will not be able to speak for the AG. But I'm speaking to you as a lawyer. That the fact that someone has reported a wrong does not necessarily mean that the AG will take it and start running with it because it is a wrong. It has to be a crime, properly constituted. And the AG, with his investigator, will be able to come to that conclusion after they are done with their own investigations, not just by they being handed over a document. And so an investigation is a painstaking job. And so I am not surprised that the AG is taking his time to go about this job meticulously, because that is what he has to do. At the end of the day, if he takes anything and rushes to court and he fails, trust me, no one will look at the oral team. In fact, the oral team will receive all their praises that is due them. The blame will now come to the AG. They will think that the oral team did their job, but the AG is failing. You understand? So let's give the AG the time it desires to do this job. The job is, look, investigating crime is as difficult as anything. And the AG will have to use an investigator who will be in the docket tomorrow. You understand? To defend whatever outcome there is in the report. If you go to court with the oral document, are you going to call Okujota Blaka to come and speak to the oral document in the docket? Are you going to call Martin Pewu? When even those people were also not part of the time, not part of the process, they only went to gather information.
I see.
We don't use hearsay to prosecute crime. You use people who were part of the process, and the order would even tell you that they were not involved in investigation. Remember at the time, yes, they were saying that they were not investigating crimes. They were only gathering information for the investigation bodies to take and do. So please, let's not at this point try to rate what the order has done. Let's look at what they'll be able to do at least in 3-4 years, because prosecuting crime is not easy. They have to take each and every one of them and investigate and go with it.
So the opposition says that there's trial by media because there are constant briefings by the AG, which seem to be in a communicated language that is construed by the public to mean those individuals might have committed wrongs, and so
Roland,
tend to dent their credibility.
Roland, the fact that another group of people are not satisfied or they are disturbed by a mode of doing something does not mean that the thing is wrong.
Okay.
We have promised to reset the country. We have promised to do things in a different way. If that was not the cause of things, and it is not illegal, you understand? I don't see what is wrong with that. In fact, in almost all the advanced jurisdiction, we see that happening. If you go to US, you understand, you see those briefings regularly being done. And it is meant to carry people along. That does not pronounce guilt on whoever is involved. You understand? And so there's nothing wrong with that. It's just an enhanced process. It's to bring along people the issue of transparency. In fact, the person also has the right to also come to the media and then
dispute the facts.
You understand? And so that does not in any way pronounce judgment on it.
Engineer Ashibis, I know that for you don't like to meddle in some of these matters, but as somebody who is watching from the sidelines and the constant briefings by the Attorney General, very distinguished in his profession as a lawyer, indeed has played the role before. What do you make of the public opinion about perhaps the effects of those briefings that he undertakes alongside his deputy on the reputation, so-called, of those individuals involved?
Well, thank you very much. Again, I believe that oral is, if we had the same important part, in terms of how it has gone, would I say, the impact has been what I wanted to know. I would have thought that, things would have moved on a lot more quickly than they are. But again, you see, the lawyer, when it comes to the law, they say the law resides in the bosom of the judge. And then they have all their processes and all of that. But we need to look into this, because two of the major issues that brought the current government into power was the issues about what they were going to do about Galamsey, and then also what they were going to do with corruption. And if they don't deal with these two very decisively, it will take them, back into opposition. So they need to make sure that we deal with that. The cost of corruption to us as a country is just enormous.
In billion.
The amount of people who are dying, because they don't have,
almost
when they go to the
billion.
hospital, there are no beds and all of that. So I think that for me, the issues about the briefings are good. The thing about it is that we need to make sure that we are not, defaming anybody, but we need to carry the citizens along. So I would want a lot more of the briefing, and I would want the Attorney General to also add the Galamsey cases to it, just as he would do for oral. He should tell us all the arrests that have been done by NIMOS has been done by the Forestry Commission. What has happened to it? The kingpin that was arrested in Osino, for example, we know he's been granted bail. The issues around Akunta mining, what's happening to all of that? So I want a lot more of the briefing. So because you see, sovereignty resides with the people. And so if we really are going to carry the people along, we need to let the people know what is happening. But when we do the briefing as well, we are a country of a rule of law. It has to be done by the law. And now, as Honorable said, this is not something that is new to our country. You know, these briefings happen in other jurisdictions, and we should do the same thing. But we should be fair. We should bear in mind that the persons are innocent till proven guilty. So, but in the same vein, we need to make sure that we are carrying the citizenry along.
Okay, Master Planner has already given me his ratings already. I'll read them at the end of the. But at the end of the day, oral, there seemed to be a certain yen from the public, just like Galamsey, that look, there was too much impunity in the system. People are embezzling public funds. Public funds spent are not accountable. Nobody is held responsible. And so that is why there was embracing of those two key campaign messages. Oral, I'll fight Galamsey. Now, how would you gauge what has been done and then what the public opinion is, for which the government needs to be cautious of? Otherwise,
Olympus. So, impunity, corruption, embezzlement, these are languages for the rich. Let's go down. They stole from us. They stole public funds. You see, when you put it that way, then the Ghanaian, look,
I see.
Your former finance minister has run away to the United States. He has left the country. Now, to even add insult to injury, he has gone to engage another criminally minded lawyer called Edeyat Kasimi. A criminal, pure one.
Edeyat Kasimi?
Go to Afghanistan. Oh, he was being pursued. Kabul banking.
A former minister.
Former minister for aviation. The whole of the United States, no pure white man was willing to defend Ken Ofori-Atta. He had to go to Afghanistan. That guy is not a pure American. He's an Afghan. To go and engage him. Someone who himself was embroidered in a similar fashion. That guy must be a subject. In fact, the Ghana government must begin to petition the United, because Ken Ofori-Atta is not giving us a clue. The people that has been in the equation, the coefficients. And the yacht is a coefficient of the crime we are talking about.
Coefficient?
Coefficient of crime. Coefficient. And he's sitting in the US there and on BBC running his mouth. Look, make nobody, don't let any lawyer deceive you that we have not been stolen as a country.
Rule of law.
So that, and let me remind
you. The wheels of justice
grind. The wheels of justice grind was slowly. Didn't the offender go to court at 12 o'clock and get ruling at 3 o'clock? Wasn't the same wheels? Wasn't the same wheels? If they want to do it, they can do it. Take it from me.
Oh, so low.
If they want to do it, but because it's a rich. Let a poor man get a matter because a poor man cannot even have access to lawyer. So quickly, we dispense with the poor man. But the rich man will get and go engage a lawyer, pay more, and in the system they come and tell us the wheels of justice grind slow.
So how we are dealing with oral and all that?
I am not happy, but you see, I would encourage the Attorney General to continue to do the press briefings.
You like the briefings?
Oh, but I have encouraged, see, any Attorney General that fails to carry the public along will fail. Because in our space, those that have stolen, they themselves have media houses that wants to control the narrative. They will control the narrative and let the government look bad. So if you don't come and tell us, in any case, it's accountability. Yeah. You are accounting to the people. What is wrong with that? The only people who are not happy with it are those criminals who think that we are exposing them too much. We live with them in society. You cannot be a teacher. The moment you come to government, the next moment you are driving Bugatti and you say you won a lot. If you won a lot, you come and show us the winning numbers and which institution you won from. It's as simple as that. The presidency assured us. In fact, he commissioned a forensic audit committee. Remember, for the 13th All Africa Games. That was in November. President Mahama commissioned them. The Auditor General assured us that by the middle of December, the findings will be made available. We are ending the year. Auditor General, see, you are the people that disappoint the President. The President, if the Auditor General is going to play this game, you fire him. What are you waiting for? PDS, Gargantuan, give PDS. Look, as for PDS, that it is look, I was expecting the former flag bearer of the NPP to be hauled. Oh. You remember conditions president and conditions subsequent. He changed. He single-handedly changed it. Why they even introduce a fake insurance guarantee? Sputnik V, Ajima Menu. You are telling us that the views of justice grind slowly. The man, the health minister, couldn't think straight. He all of a sudden is dead. Quiet. You understand? National service, 2.4 billion. Asibe and give to Owari. You give to Owari. You engage in monetary that is taller than your height. The money is taller than your height. Now you think I have to be happy? My daughter is at secondary school sleeping on useless beds because of the corruption of these people. National Cathedral, people are saying there's no corruption. Look at that. How can you come? The whole is there. But let me assure you, today is 31st. All those that want to join me, that is why I'm going to fellowship. That is a site, official site for anybody that wants to worship God. So by 11:30 p.m., I will be at the National Cathedral site. Last year I was there.
But there's no church there.
But that is a church for you. You don't want to worship. What are you talking about? So I will be there. 11:30, I'll go and meet my maker there. President Kufuor said he had a promise with God. So I'm going there to see whether God will meet me there. And if God meets me there and does not tell me to go and chase the Kufuor and bring that money, that means this God is not a balanced God. That this God is a discriminating God. Then this God affirms corruption and abhors corruption and loves corruption. David Ajay, what is he? You came to take our money with impunity. Now you say what? The use of justice graduate. So all around, like Asibe was saying, and Galamsey were the two key issues. The president and the government, they are doing very well on the economic front. But you know why the people, the masses are still not happy? Because they believe that if you are doing well in inflation, with your exchange rate, and with your GDP, he must. And those 9 months and that they must begin to arrest the kingpins. Next year, Kenabua, please, enough of this small boy Chinese, go for the kingpins, arrest them. Let's begin to do something new in our lives.
Okay.
And with that, Ghana will go places.
All right. So what will be your expectation? What will be your highlights of the year? Some key things you think positive or perhaps in national discourse that you think you want to mention?
Oh, clearly for me, if you ask me, the biggest thing that happened to Ghana as far as 2025 is concerned was the establishment of the gold board. For me, if you ask me.
It's come under criticism lately.
That is not any issue at all. If you look at the impact gold board or the establishment of gold board has made in the economic management of this country, you realize that, but for gold board, we would have been far, far, far away from the successes we've chalked so far. You look at the fact that today, from year to date, we have seen a 35% appreciation of our currency. This has not happened. In fact, we've not had a situation where, since 2007, we've not even experienced an appreciation of our currency against the major currencies. But we've seen that with the advent of gold board. We've seen our reserve portfolio going to a much higher level, $12 billion. That has not happened before in our history. So in fact, gold board has helped to position the country. And we are also happy to have such a very focused and such a diligent person like Sami, manning the affairs of Google. And so you realize that the successes we've chalked so far as a country, we owe a lot to the establishment of Google. We owe a lot to Sami Jeffrey. And I want to commend them for that. On the other front, I'll say the qualification of the Black Stars to the World Cup is another big issue. It's one of the icings on the cake that I can talk about.
For the year. Your highlights for the year.
The highlights for the year, before I get there's also a 52 billion Ghana cedi tax revenue that was stolen.
The commercial bank.
The commercial bank.
The money that was...
52 billion is enough. The road minister is doing very well, but he needs money. Governor Abuja is doing so well. The health insurance...
With a big push.
Interestingly, health insurance now, they are paying the people.
Nobody's complaining.
Hey, leadership is everything. Health insurance. Can you imagine? Now, what has happened with the gold board must open the eyes of those in this administration that think that they have friends in the NPP.
I don't understand.
It must open their eyes. I see them doing business and I laugh. They don't know we have been this party.
You mean they are individuals in the government working?
They are working closely. They think that scratch my back, let me scratch your back.
They are doing scratch my back.
Exactly.
I scratch your back.
Now the gold board, even where there is no issue, you see how they have been able to bring it up, trying to point accusing fingers at Sami Jemfi. Let me tell you, Sami Jemfi remains a threat to the NPP.
Exactly.
They hate him to the core. And so if Sami is listening to me, he does not have friends there. He have people that really hate him. But they'll go around him and make all sort of gestures as though they love you. If you fall for it, my friend, you'll be eating or you'll be laughing at the wrong side of your mouth. They are only looking for something to pounce on you. And make no mistake, even
you mean it's a target?
It's a target. It's a target. It's pure hatred. Nothing more. Nothing is pure hatred. Other than that, the works of the Gold Board, initially I criticized it. I was even thinking that it was too early for Sami to be pushed there. But he has proven beyond all reasonable doubt.
Really?
He has impressed me. That
Solomon Owusu.
I say it without any malice. I don't remember. Sami Javi, I've met him once on set at Alaji. I've never met him. But I can tell you with all sincerity that he is living up to expectation and that we have to encourage him. The IMF that you are trusting, the IMF is not happy that as a country you have been able to have a template that can draw in more revenue. Because once Ghana succeeds, remember Mali is into gold production, Burkina is into gold production, Ivory Coast, they will also resort to this same gold board template. Europe and America will suffer. So I have read the entire Fit Review report. It was only commendation, but they needed to bring a propaganda. And that propaganda, it is for the consumption of the New Patriotic Party and their assigns. I have said that we have two types of opposition members or opposition parties. We have the irresponsible opposition party, which is the New Patriotic Party, and the responsible opposition party, which is the United Party. The party
you
that
are the responsible one.
Absolutely, they know in this country
they
are going to give the NDC a good round for their money come 2028. No doubt about that.
Which other events are your highlights for the year? Apart from qualification of the Black Stars.
Apart from the qualification of the Black. No, I mean the death of the 8.
The crash.
Remember the last message for the day came from Mutala. My friend,
I think all of us were here.
We're here.
Zato was here.
Zato was here. You were here. The last message came from Mutala. And he continues to hunt me.
He was on the tarmac at the time.
He is somebody that we have had close relationship. And that is why we cannot stop talking about Galamsey, because they died because of Galamsey. So for me, it's a highlight for the year for me. And we must always use them to fight against what? Galamsey.
Okay. Doctor, engineer, Dr. Ken Ashigbi, your highlights for the year. 2 minutes.
Well, I think that I will start off with the death of the 8th. That day I was in Obuasi, where they were coming to, and so Mane is for me also one of the greatest fighters when it comes to Galamsey. He was one of the great the ministers who supported the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources the most, and so his death was a major blow. Muta was my personal friend as well, and so again that hit me. And so for me, it is the reason why I was expecting that when the Minister for Foreign Affairs said we should wait, and that this death was going to result into something, I was hoping that the president would have used that as an impetus, and that their lives would not have been in vain. So I am still hoping that wherever they are, Omani being a Catholic, and with what he has done, I'm pretty sure he's close to sainthood, and he would intercede for all of us who are involved in the Galamsey. That's where we as humans fail. God would hit hard these environmental organized criminals who are destroying the footstool of God. So that for me was a major highlight for the year. Another major one again was the repeal of the LI as well. And I'm hoping that out of that ashes, we'll be able to deal with the regulations that would ensure responsible exploitation of our forest resources, and also the resources, the other natural resources of the state.
Okay.
Our absence at AFCON definitely, there is a big blow. But I think the World Cup as well, the World Cup as well has been good. And I think that the appreciation of the cedi and the stability of our macroeconomic indicators are good enough.
My
only challenge is that we as Ghanaians.
The CD bit.
Yes.
The CD bit.
So
it brought some sustainability. Yes. The criticism has been that, you know, the financial intermediation we're doing in the market, when we make it available so that there's access, and so we don't create the supply-demand situation. And it's been a subject of criticism from the opposition, especially. So, what's your own take on that?
I think the point they make is the fact that we should accept that.
Because personally, I find it quite intriguing.
But again, as a farmer, my other challenge currently is that I have maize still sitting in my barn because there's a glut. So out of the appreciation of the city, it's made our imports into the country cheaper, and so there's a lot of importation into the country. So we need to look at some policy interventions that will deal with the unintended consequences of it. And then I also want to speak to the mind and heart of all of us as Ghanaians. You know, our nature, to want to exploit every situation. Currently, you have people who have their parents in this country. If they were bringing $100, to be able to sort their parents out, they now have to bring more dollars because we have not responded, with appreciation of the cedi. We have not responded by dropping the prices. When the cedi was depreciating, the traders and everybody was saying, prices, so we're moving our prices up. Prices have come down. Even there are schools that charge their fees in forex, and they convert it. When the cedi is appreciating now, they are still charging us what it is that they used to charge, in the previous years, which is not fair. So we as Ghanaians, we also need to be a lot more patriotic. So as the macroeconomic stability we're getting, the cedi is appreciating. Let's match that. Our market queens and all of that. Yeah. They come to the farm gates, they come and buy their things. Look Very at the cheap. Issues around X, for example. And so I would want to, going into 2026, I want all of us as Ghanaians to also be patriotic. In as much as we talk about everything falls and rises with leadership, we as the followers would also need to also support this and make sure that we speak up when things are not going right. We need to do some sacrifices. One other thing I would also want to say is that I am hoping that government itself would also put its money where its mouth is. We talk about wanting to take a lot more out of the minerals and mining sector, for example. We should be prepared to also invest in it. We should be prepared, to
we have engineers and planners led by Ibrahim Mahama, and it's
that's a positive sign, again, and that's the reason why we would want, now that Ghanaians are beginning to also take the height. You also want to make sure that the honorable minister will look into the issues around the royalty regime that are being doubled. If it does that, projects like the Zuma project might suffer, other projects might also suffer. But you see, as we talk about Zuma going into this particular one, so for example, Goldfields will be giving off Damang to government. I will pray that through MIF, government will be able to take a major stake in that, and whoever it is that would partner government, so that as a people, we would have a stake where we have put our money into to make sure that these things are happening.
Right. The last bit, you spoke as CEO for the Ghana Chamber of Mines.
No, I spoke as a Ghanaian. But wearing that hat.
Of course.
I spoke as a Ghanaian because I also want to make sure that as a people, when we talk about wanting to get more out of gold, we need to invest into it so that we also can get commensurate returns.
Lawyer Abdul Fattah says you do your work so well that he even misses you as CEO for the Telecom Chamber as well. But happy 2026 to you, Dr. Engineer Ken Ashigbi. Okay, wishing you all the best, and then also you. Thank you very much for happy 2026 as well.
TV3 for the opportunity. And then happy New Year. And then my good people of Yendi, the good people, the good and the bad people of Yendi.
The good and the bad, everybody else.
Everybody.
Okay. So you have Abiba. I work with Abiba at Just One Group.
Oh, okay.
He
I also work with Ken.
Ken.
You know, I was with MTN.
Okay, yeah. So and she contested Farouk as well.
Yes. Farouk is my guy.
Your party,
and he defeated you. But he was stubborn, so at the point I was also happy. Either than that, Farouk is
but let me just have your 2 cents on the subject. I think that, I mean, we have a stable currency.
Yes.
It's like your body temperature.
Really?
Well, was it supposed to be 37%?
Yes,
Is that 7 degrees Celsius? Yes. That's the normal body. That's what we learned in school, right?
Yes.
Sorry.
If it has changed, then.
Okay. And I think that it brought a certain calmness into the economic environment when we're talking about consumers in the market.
Yes.
And so my question to you for 2 minutes will be, what do you make of the excessive criticism about the intermediations, so to speak, that's made? That gives the laxity, creates a space for everybody to breathe.
You have the Constitution before you. You read.
Okay.
So you just go to Article 36 and read why we put in place any government, so that
Article 36.
36, so that we are done. 36(1).
Today I didn't bring my Constitution.
So read it.
36(1).
Yes, so that we
okay. Article 36(1).
Down there.
All right. And this part of Chapter 6, the directive principles of state policy. So 36(1) says the state shall take all necessary action to ensure that the national economy is managed in such a manner as to maximize the rate of economic development and to secure the maximum welfare, freedom, and happiness of every person in Ghana, and to provide adequate means of livelihood and suitable employment and public assistance to the needy.
That is it.
And then it continues in 2. The state shall, in particular, take all necessary steps to establish a sound and healthy economy whose underlying principles shall include all the things about fair remuneration and all that.
So you are a government.
So why this?
You are a government. You know that one of the problems you may have in your economy is the instability of your currency, because it has the potential of eroding everyone's capital, working capital. Yeah. Now you have the dollars sitting at the Bank of Ghana. Those that have gone to Harvard, Yale, Massachusetts, the 2020 from Legon, KNUST, they are telling us that the government must not intervene in the market with the dollars to stabilize the currency. That's what they are telling you. And that they must allow the city to wobble, to depreciate to a certain level, so that in itself, it will recover. Who taught them this economics?
I don't understand.
The work of every government is to make sure that it always ensures stability. That is why you work hard to generate the much needed forex. Anybody you hear, don't be deceived by these professor titles, economist titles, expert. Nobody.
There are many doctors, but who are
forget about it. They have never done any business. We do real-time business on the street. They have no clue. Give them this country to some simple business.
So this environment is good for the Owusu kind of traders.
That is it, and that is why things are stabilizing. It is the intervention. This IMF and the World Bank, they don't wish you well. If your country is doing well, why would they be in business? Why would they be in business? They must go and then look at why the IMF came to being, whether or not they are there for the interest of the developing economies. So they go and hide behind these people. These people also go and read Economics Without Tears, written by Kontoji, which is so archaic.
That's O-level, A-level.
O-level, A-level.
Oh, you too.
No, that is by if not Economics Without Tears.
Demand supply.
Demand and supply.
Factors of production.
They read without understanding. They come and tell us that
it is
a government that is intervening in the market, helping the people to live a happy life as enshrined in the Constitution to ensure the stability of the economy. The government is abiding by the dictates of the Constitution. They say they don't agree. So if you don't agree, when you become the government of the day, which Constitution are you going to use? So it now tells me why they sat down for the city to skyrocket to 17 cities. They sat down for inflation to be at 54%. They sat down for fuel to get to 23 cities a liter, and they did.
So that is it. Enti wuti nsema omoka anyhow a conversation is equal. Uhe NPP ni na oni asem bi aka. Uhe NPP ni na oni asem bi aka. And all that you can say and say, good board, Edincho, good board, I say. You see, that is the only thing I beat me. And Jenshe, and now me know because see a dollar no, eda saying 10, it really 10. And now me know because you dollar no at the 10. $1 is to 10 cedis. But young for ya no man ka by now. Minim say ka dollar no by now ka a trade somewhere a hovering somewhere around pay 20 cedis. Because no more the business. No more ka say the business. Omo the pesca, no more the taxes na begu so. Into yet mamuni na say ukoyi niema ewo sebi aye habo ukoyi niema obi di niema bra na say ukoyi. You see the kind of tax here iguso, the VAT, value added tax no and iguso enya asem ketwa. They know what they were doing. That was why they were interested in what? Rising the dollar instead of stabilizing it. They know what they were doing. I guess no unim factors, no. No munim say ye say, but deliberately no. Aya adwon bone obi a obeka say NPP for anybody no munim say omdoma dollar na akofo bia no. Hey, let me tell you, it is a lie. They are politicians, omunim de eko. But adwon bone selfish interest, greedy, any yes or one kasa ombenyo omuhunti no. They rather preferred say dollar no ebeye den ebe trade higher na omwankasa business aiden stabilize than the economy. So you can see and ene wutimi hu, you can see and ene wutimi hu ene hwe said the name esi ko ene the last day of 2025 31st of December 2025, the last day of what? 2025. But the net dollar a trade on what? 10 cedis to $1. Kwana koshe the last day of 2023 and that's 2025. Go and check the last day of 2024. 2024 last year. NDC no munya metna so fe na na mu beso mu ino. Go and check it. Go and check how the dollar was. $1 is it here. And everything shows clearly. Say these kind of NPP people. I won't pour money, but I won't bet TV radio for the sake of publicity and for the sake of propaganda. And they pretend as if everything is okay. They pretend as if they have this country at heart. A business and no akufado ni kinufurata and ni Dr. Baumiano omodi Ghana nti ene ede na akwati bayira homu a ama minister mu a wadwane ekwa afidie on the 6th of January that is a kinufurata fi krom hano 1 year die 1 solid year any and I actually from February to December onyambaye nti se sebi wo man ho do ena wakoso no man no ena mo ka kire se bra na be ya accounts to Ghanaians o mo akoso mo senka wo man ho do kwa na se yare bi na yare a enya hwe yade nko abeg ena wo yare a solid wani anie utimi nante ye be hu na na Washington DC bag bo wachi ti school ni ye be hu na wo ti restaurant na wo chele nti yade be nko na wona ma utimi ntina flight emba Radio Metro Nunu in 2020 elections, he was what? Paralyzed. Or you'll be an 70 ye fano ekotena witness bosom. I think that he was Zuma na bibisa. Emani yeden everything say e kan nsem brand DC omuko elections a omuko GT ni biscuits Radio Metro Nunu any Dr. Pesa White ewi akira na chese e siri dia ide or their form come. You get it. enti no kinofurata na nkasa no nye na adwen se opa accounts aye kinofurata enye na adwen da so no opese oye accounts to Ghanaians se nkente sa enka no bi ene beka che ni se free US won bra na be ya accounts e kire Ghana for isan se wo ena na ye eye foto sanfo kuntunkunu ne kro moka no bibibia nhima bufu se kuntunkunu na ye omode soso no. You get my point here. Enti no it is planned so ono omba. He has planned so ono onye den omba. We're making our dream set. So no matter what happened, no, he is not coming to Ghana anymore. And almost say he is acquiring for what? Citizenship for US. What I say? And assembly dear, ye can say na ye, but ye na you krumha. You krumha. NCBU say NPP for BD Ghana so. It won't happen. It is never going to happen because they come selfishly, they come greedily to come and loot and share to their people. No matter to do in case Jama to me any all those people. No matter to fear no my ye money no money now. If you don't mind shepe no mu disebi yena ye fie bi ni honom ye maame no matem so man bobre ye. You get me? Tie na ye okroma ye hwe DBC. Ti mumma ye mumpa no Yakopon ene last day on fa yintwa. Na the year 2026 by this time of China de na ya tie sima bibia ekoyi e de ama e kira wadwen e wo comment section. E di am di so ha e mega Yakopon ka obibia ehu na afi on fa won twambi few hours akai. Bye bye.